All right, we are live. Good afternoon, Listing Agent Academy with me. As you can see, I've got my good friend, Mr. Jared Wright from the Share Group. Jared, thank you,
What's
my
up?
friend, for coming on here.
Yeah, what's up, man? Thanks for including me. It's kind of fun to be live.
It is. It is. So let me just post a couple links that you sent me.
Yeah, right on.
So let me do this, and we will kick it off. That should be posting. All right, let's rock and roll. All right, so listen, today, you guys, here's the deal. I asked Jared from the Share Group to come on for our Thursday live training for the reason that the real estate market's shifting. We're constantly talking about lead generation. Jared has been servicing and supporting our community for many, 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 many years. Many of you have already done business with Jared. You've gotten your absentee owner leads from him and his team. And so today, Jared's going to walk you guys through some updates that they're doing over at the Share Group. We're going to talk about maybe some additional lead opportunities for you guys. And then at the end, Jared, the nice guy that he is, has offered you guys a special discount that he has never done before. I put 2 links right now in the comments beneath this video. You guys can use that as coupon codes to purchase leads if you guys would want to do that this afternoon. So, Jared, let's jump into it. Why don't we start off with just talking about some of the updates and some of the things you guys have been working on, and then we'll get into your lead store, and you guys can give us a little demo.
Awesome. Well, yeah, first and foremost, appreciate the opportunity to come out here and speak with everybody. So thank you for that. Yeah, it's been it's been a busy, exciting last couple of years for us as we really kind of tried to streamline the data online for the agents to self-serve, right? And so the different data sets that we're all familiar with that you brought up, is the flagship product is our absentee owner database, right? That's kind of what introduced us, and that's how we all got started. From there, we developed several different segments of owner-occupied data that revolves around motivated sellers. So we have a likely to sell criteria that's based off of like equity, length of residence, job, area, some other proprietary information. From there, we've evolved into like divorced databases, not necessarily like public record divorce, but knowing that record, that raw data coming in, that it was a married household and now is a single household. And that's been a popular database. And then downsizers, we've talked about that a few times the last couple of years as being a huge market to where the growth in these transactions are going to come. So the data for us is, still been those pockets of motivated sellers that are really working well. We like to call ourselves like the treasure map to the gold, but you guys all have to go on the hunt, and so
let me just add, just so, because we've got a lot of new members, Jared.
Yeah.
So let me just give everybody the use case and how they would use your data. So for you guys watching right now, you would want to partner with Jared. And what I mean partner is you can purchase specific data, specific lists directly from Jared, upload those lists into a dialer system that you might be using, like a Vulcan 7 or a Mojo, if you're using RedX's Vortex dialer system. So the difference, because I get a lot of this questions, the difference between what Jared does and some of the other lead providers is specialization. So a lot of people will license data from companies like Jared's. So a lot of the companies out there that want to get downsizers or likely to sells or specific niche absentee owners, they will license the data from a data aggregating company like Jared's, and then they will import that automatically into their system.
Correct.
So this is kind of like going directly to the source. And so all of the times where I've talked about, niching down, find your specialty, go out there and prospect homeowners with little to no competition. And you guys all ask me, well, where do I get those leads from? It's Jared at the Share Group. So like he said, absentee owners, downsizers, likely to sells, notice of defaults,
Yeah, pre-foreclosure, exactly. And, the market evening it out. So, yeah, you're going to have a lot more inventory and some other opportunities. Exactly, Brandon. That's a perfect example. And I think for us as the data aggregator, utilizing the various sources and building the data, it is a freshness issue. And I think what separates us, I think, from the other people that offer data as a secondary service, it's our primary service. That's kind of what we know. And behind the scenes, there's 90 years of data compilation experience within our organization. And so the quality, I think, is where you're going to see the most impact. So when you are picking up the phone and making those outbound calls to these niches and building your customer base, basically, it becomes a numbers game that we want to make sure that it's worthy of that effort, right? So
exactly. So yeah. One question, real quick. There's and Micheline, I see your question. If you guys have questions, you can put them in the chat, and that's why I'm doing these live streams on StreamYard, so I can see these in real time. So the question, Jared, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page, but there is a source that we have access to in the MLS that allows us to pull some really, really good lists. Now, they don't have contact info. So right. You guys still have the ability, if an agent says, hey, here's a list of 5,000 addresses. Can an agent give you that list of addresses and then you guys go do your little magic and then get the contact info?
Absolutely. Data enhancement is a lot of what we do, because a lot of the realtors in their areas are, having resources with the title company or other different data sources or contact databases that they're getting and building. We can enhance that, in almost real time to add a accurate cell phone number, accurate landline number, accurate email address, or when the last, purchase date. I mean, there's a lot of different data enhancements we can add to a record that you would have, like a Remind service that is available through the MLS, right? So
exactly. And some of you guys have Remind that provides contact info, and some of you don't, right? So you can pull lists out of the MLS with the homeowners that you want. So now you got that piece of the puzzle. Yep. Ship that list over to Jared and his team, and they can go get you the contact info for those homeowners if needed.
Like a real life example, like a lot of people would use PropStream, for example, and they could be more type people, but similar situation that they pull that data. Well, PropStream phone numbers aren't as accurate because it's stagnant. They're not updating regularly. Where we come in is we can enhance that data that kind of, doesn't even the playing field. It enhances the playing field for you guys to have a higher contact rate and a more, valid, accurate phone number.
Exactly. Now, so some of you guys are asking about pricing already, which is fine. So Jared, what is the cost per record? How does it break down?
Yeah, totally. So, and these are really good questions, and I can kind of see them popping up too. But the cost per record, like if you're going to get the address, the phone number, the email address, we have a flat rate of 20 cents per record. Emails on about, I would say, 60% of the database. You could prioritize and say, hey, I only want 100% emails. So we can definitely cater to those types of requests. If we're enhancing the data, it's even more a deeper discount at that like 10 cents range. So if we're adding that phone number or that email, it's a 10 cent a match versus the 20 cents for the address information.
Got it. Okay. So super cool. And you guys, I put, Jared gave you guys all a discount code. So if you guys want to get some leads from him, you can do that. He's offered 25% or 30% off. Now, the accuracy, I see questions coming in. So there's hundreds, I don't even know, maybe thousands of people that you service right now in our community. I don't know the number. You probably know that better than I do. I have been using his data for a long time. So here's the key thing. When we look at data accuracy, right? So they're asking about PropStream. He just talked about PropStream. We'll come right back to that. So the data that Jared's getting is, and that's where a service like his comes into play. You see all these third-party vendors like Vulcan 7 and Mojo. You see those companies specialize in FSBOs and expireds. All the other data, all the other homeowner data, those companies are third-party. They're outsourcing it to companies like Jared's. So Jared gets the actual truth of the matter. The question is, how what is the accuracy?
Yeah,
Right?
and that's a really good question. And we've been doing some private studies on the data, like testing the data, kind of, putting our money where our mouth is. And we did a private study where we ran our data versus some of the usual suspects, and we had a 88.7% accurate rate from our phone number database. Versus the competition that was below 70%. We can send out some information for your group. Like we did a one pager on that, Brandon, that we can share that. But the reason why, and you've kind of alluded to this a couple of different times, but is how we build the database. And so we'll use that transactional record at the county level, but we won't rely on that for the contact information. We license and manage thousands of incentive-based, non-incentive-based websites that we're capturing that email, we're capturing that cell phone, we're getting them to opt in to receive third-party information. That is what we're marrying back to that transactional record that we know that's the most accurate phone number based off of recency.
Yeah, amazing. So now that's the accuracy piece. So what Jared's going to do right now, you guys, so some of you guys are asking, how long does it take? The great thing that Jared and his team have been working on is what they call the lead store. So what happened in the olden days when Jared and I met 27 years ago, or however long it was, we would call back and forth and like, hey, here's the list that I want. Now it's super cool. So why don't we jump into the demo, Jared?
Yeah. Wish me luck, right? Here's where I get my my money. So I'm going to share my screen.
Yeah. And we'll come back and answer you guys' questions after we do the demo of how the lead store works on the website.
Yeah, it's letting me, I think. Here, hold on, share. All right, so can you guys all see this, Brandon?
Not yet.
Not yet.
So you hit share underneath, right?
Yeah, and it said it makes me go to system preferences. Holy crap!
Oh boy.
It's coming. We'll figure this out.
Yeah, we will. So I'll answer some of these questions.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. So let me just pull these up while you figure out your tech stuff. It's always difficult at times. Let me pull this back up here. So the question is, I want to just make sure, because I can't see you guys' names on here, but let me go in here.
It's making me restart Chrome.
You got to restart?
It's making me restart Chrome, and that's what I'm on with this app, so I don't get it.
Why don't hold on? You know what? Why don't I just go on and then you can navigate me?
Yeah, absolutely. That would be perfect if you don't mind doing that, and we can kind of dig in and show you guys the lead shot. It's pretty cool. So I'm glad that
hold on one second. So Patrice, yes. So if you guys are joining us late, you can give Jared a list of addresses. I mean, that's what they specialize in. And then they can go in and source the contact information for those addresses.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, too, not to interrupt you, Brandon, was we'll take that data, we'll run the process, we'll call you and say, hey, out of the 2,000 you gave me, we matched on 1,500. That's all you're going to pay for. How's that sound? So there's no like hidden charges or anything that you're not comfortable with. We're very transparent in that world.
Yeah, and there's no. I didn't want this to be a huge, pitch, but you guys are asking all these questions. No, there's no monthly charge. You just pay for whatever you get. So.
Yeah. No subscriptions, no contracts. Like our best foot forward is for the agent, right? The last thing we want to do is nickel and dime anybody.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. Now, Jared, you should see my screen, right?
Yep, exactly. So go to the top toolbar. It says buy online. So this is our main website. You'll click buy online. We built this lead, the source for seller leads through Shopify. So you scroll down a little farther there, and you can search your market. I think maybe not. Go up. Oh yeah, right. You can search your market. So I type in Omaha, Nebraska. That's where we're headquartered here, is in the middle of America. And so hit Omaha, Nebraska. And so you'll see each zip code within Omaha that you can search by. So you can search by, MSA, county, city, and then there's each of those zip codes within Omaha area. Within the databases we provide, you see it as a default to absentee owners. If you go to the far right zip, that 54639, you drop down that, you'll see we have all 5 of the databases out there. If it's missing a database, call us offline. It's just a lower quantity that we don't load into the shop, right? So it could be under 100 records or but anyway, that's where you add to the cart, and then and it's pretty self-explanatory of what you're able to do. So you can add to the cart above there, Brandon. See how it says add zip code to the cart?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. And then even if you wanted to click on one of the zip codes, click on one of the zip codes too. Yep. And it takes you to the actual zip code. It tells you about the database. So if you went up and hovered over divorced homeowners right where you're at, it'll change and tell you what the divorce property description is down below too, a little bit lower. Yeah, so it kind of tells you what the divorced homeowner property leads are.
So this is phenomenal. Let me just pause for a second. Yeah. So guys and girls, boys and girls, this is so freaking cool. So this is all happening in real time, all right? So you can go into your markets and you can find out by a click of a button how many absentee owner leads are sitting there in your zip code or multiple zip codes, the cost of those leads, divorce leads, likely to sell, downsizers, whatever the case may be. So let's just stay here for a second. All of you that are watching, if your zip code is not in here, just call Jared. They can do this as a manual process.
Right.
But those of you that are watching, if you guys want to give me your markets and I can throw this in here, this is like one of the greatest tools you guys ever made. I love this. So let's just put in like San Diego as an example.
Yeah, 60137 is one of them too that they just popped in.
Yeah. Okay. So so here's all of San Diego, right? You've got multiple different zip codes within San Diego.
You'll see the one zip that's sold out, Brandon, because we're offering like 30-day exclusivity. So let's say your zip code is sold out for absentee owners. We could have you on the list as soon as that 30-day expires to be set those leads. We're offering like a 30-day exclusivity through those zip codes.
Got it. Okay. So Robert Reyes, I'm going to put yours in here, 78250. Okay. So this is somewhere in the world.
Click on the actual zip code, it'll populate to that database. So yeah, exactly.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
All right. So check this out, Robert, and this is for everybody else. This is like the coolest. This is so fun for me. I don't know why. So you have 1,528 absentees just in one zip code. Now, as a product of my coaching, I want you to get the whole county, but just one zip code. So you got 1,500 absentees. It's $300. And I think through our discount code, you might get 20% off or 25% off. 25%
off the $200 spend, yeah.
25% off of that. So you have some divorce leads, 1,200 divorce leads. You've got 3,100 likely to sell leads. You've got 560 downsizers. So literally in the click of a few buttons, you guys, you can see how their site works. Very, very simple. Again, I put the link so you guys get a discount. Anything else you want to show?
You'd be able to add each one of those databases to the cart ultimately. If you wanted all four of those, Robert, you could add the absentee, the downsizer, the divorce, and the likely to sell all to the cart. And then you go check out and you're off and running.
So fun. I could just sit here all day on this site, but I won't.
We're actually coming up with a refresh too that's going to be really cool. We're building it out to show a picture of some of the properties at the zip code level. It's going to be really neat. And then we're going to start running some analysis at the zip code level of like, hey, here's some hot absentee properties based off of businesses, have been in and out of business, and some other market analysis at the county or at the zip code level that we're going to be able to provide some insight.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So just go deeper on that specific. What do you mean by that exactly?
So like we want to be able to predict like what zip codes are hot for absentee owners or not based off of like that zip code's businesses going in and out of business, properties being sold, absentee owner properties being sold. And so there's a couple of variables that we'll be able to run like a zip code analysis and then be able to say, hey, this is a hotter zip for an absentee owner, for sale lead than the other zip codes. So we're going to start being a little bit more strategic within the data as now we're starting to get a lot more feedback.
I love it. I love it. So you guys, I'm going to, here, let me do one thing, Jared. I'm going to post just a link to the site so they can get to it real quick.
You saved me, man. I better be sending you something to your house here shortly.
No worries. So let me just, let me do that really fast. Bear with me here. And then we're going to get into your guys' questions. All right. So, Jared, is there any other things that you guys are working on in addition to what you just said that you think might make sense to mention?
We're working on developing out, like we have the seller leads. We're now working on some buyer leads. And so because the market is, normalizing, it's important to kind of go after some other data sets. So one of the data sets on the buyer side that we're doing are new families that are renters with high income, good credit. Has been a popular list. Absentee owners for buyers, like that own 2 or 3 or more absentee properties, could be a good category for some of the prospects that are going after very targeted type buyer data. Another thing that is such a small thing, but it's a pretty good idea that we're talking to some of our customers about. But even targeting and changing head of household to female on a list. Let's say you work better with the female decision maker. I know at the Wright household, my wife's the one that's going to ultimately make those decisions. So maybe you target the female head of household in some of your prospecting. And so there's some different ways for us to niche down on the data that really can provide an advantage when you're working your area.
Yeah, and again, the key thing is, you guys, the reason why I sought Jared out when I did, I don't know however many years ago that was, is I wanted to have a strategic advantage over my competition, right? FSBOs and expireds are great, and we're getting a lot more of them now. But in addition to that, like I've told everybody in the community, you should have 3, 4, 5 different lead pillars, and Jared can go and get you high quality data of prospects we know the likelihood of them wanting to sell is very high, that your competitors don't have access to, right? And so my recommendation, certainly you guys have heard me talk about this for over a decade, but absentee owners, downsizers is the big one that Jared and I have been spending a lot of time on. You go and get those lists. And the questions you guys are asking is, once you get those lists, Jared can give that list to you in multiple different ways, a CSV file, Excel file, whatever the case may be. Then you can upload that into your Vulcan 7. You can upload those into your Mojo, into your Vortex, and you can put them into a lead folder and use your dialer the same way you're doing with for sale by owners and expired listings. So the question is, let's unpack some of these. So one of the questions is, so Vulcan 7 versus this. Well, that's just the thing. They're different. So there is no comparison because what they do is different things. So let me give you guys a great example. And you guys know we love Vulcan 7. We're great partners with Vulcan 7. The owner of the company is going to be at my house tomorrow at 1 p.m. Matter of fact, they do different things. So Vulcan 7, if you go into their neighborhood search as an example, and you go into a zip code and you put in absentee owners, they're only going to give you like 10 or 20% of the data, and of which they can find, it's all coming in through a third party. What Jared does is he is a data aggregator. Guys and girls, what that means is Jared is the one getting the data that gives it to various sources, of which we can't disclose on which company he's providing data to or not. So you just go right to the source. And so the difference is those companies like Vulcan 7, which we love, and Mojo that we love, they're really good at getting expireds and for sale by owners. All of your, what I call specialty categories, specialty niche leads, specialty lists, that is what Jared and his team and his company does. You get those leads and then you put them into your database. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. The next question is from somebody, Alan. All right. So you pay once for the zip code. You get the list of leads, then you upload it to your Vulcan. Yep, you nailed it, Alan. That is exactly what you do.
That is the process. And you will see, over time, how long it takes you to dial through a zip code. You come back after we update the data every 6 to 8 weeks, and you'll see a change in the phone numbers. You can see, closed properties that hopefully you didn't miss out on. So there's a lot of change in the data. So let's say you buy a zip code. 3 months down the line, we have agents come back and re-update and re-verify and kind of just refresh the data. And so we're doing a lot of that as well. I can't tell you guys enough. Every single day, we hear back from agents that make the call on the zip codes and get listings every single day.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, so questions are popping in left and right. So the question is, which leads, will these leads work on any dialer? Yeah. So Marco, you can, because Jared is going to get you your data in a CSV file. So he's going to send you an email. Here's your 2,000 leads you bought. You upload any of those lists to any dialer, and you can go through those.
And we'll support that too. So we offer that support to help through that. So if you have a dialer that you're having a hard time with, we have people that can help load that for you.
Yeah. The other question is kind of like the difference between what you guys do and what Remind does. Again, Remind is not, they have to outsource data as well. So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of the data business, but like Remind has a national partnership with the MLSs, and they do a lot of research, and now they're integrated with most MLSs. But when they offer you guys, hey, we'll get you the phone numbers and the emails, and you pay them money, Remind has to go buy that data from a third-party aggregator, like a share group, that's supplying that data. It's called white labeling, and then they sell that data to you. So Jared is what's a different word? Maybe data aggregator isn't hitting home with the people. Like, you're the source of information.
You're almost kind of a compiler, like you're compiling through the sourcing. And because we have done this, I've done it all I've known my whole career. It's just the relationships we have with the compiler, like the transactional companies, and then the other marketing companies like Axiom, which is the largest compiler of consumer data. We license that file to build within our database. So it is a lot. Like you said, you don't want to go too deep into the weeds of what we do to build the data. We just do a lot to make sure it's as accurate as it can. It's not going to be 100% accurate, but I would hang my hat on it being 90% accurate through and through. And if it's not, we'll obviously adjust that accordingly to make things right, I guess. So that's what the buyer lead price is. That's 20 cents as well. The same kind of codes. We're very flexible when it comes to that stuff based off of quantity.
Can you go through? Another question was on the updating of data. You have been hitting me on this for years, and maybe I have underestimated this myself, and you love it. It's something that you talk to me a lot about. And so guys, listen closely and what Jared can do with I don't know what you call the process, but updating the data.
Refresh, like a data refresh. So yeah, we build out the database, like let's say 4 times a year. Let's say every quarter, we're putting a brand new database together. The phone numbers are constantly changing, right? Those email addresses are changing. The percentage of those houses are being sold, right? Those transactions are being made. So when that data updates, let's say you bought a list from me 3 months prior, after the next update, we would do like a data refresh, and we would take back that file that you had, and then we would update the phone numbers, the cell phone, the emails. We would flag the ones that are out of business. We would enhance the new phone numbers, and then also, flag the records that are sold. And that's just a small fee to refresh that depending on the quantity. But for a real life example, we had a guy that updated a list after 8 months of buying, 3,500 records. We updated 800 phone numbers, on a 3,500 record database in 8 months. So the data is changing. It is becoming stagnant. And so the more you can, be efficient to stay on the freshest data available, the higher success you're going to have, converting those appointments.
That's right. And roughly what did that cost that guy? Do you remember for 800?
It's like $100. It's like $100 refresh. It's the last thing we want to do is like nickel and dime anyone, and so we're very consultative through the conversation. We have 5 sales reps that's what they do every single day, and so we're willing to work with everyone on every case possible.
Cool. So there you go, guys. As you get your list, and I've been building lists with Jared for years, and so you keep up your database of that you get from Jared just keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. So Don says, so I can have an update my list that I received back in April. Absolutely.
So call your sales rep if you remember, or and we can do a refresh, and it does kind of re-kick that motivation to know that the data is as fresh as possible. It's a quality is what keeps me going. It's what drives our business, and so if you guys aren't having success, we're not having success.
Now, a lot of you are asking questions about, like, I saw some of the questions. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but my understanding is that you are not hey, here's one property address. Can you go and get me this phone number? Or here's 2 or 3 property. You're more of a list like, here's a couple thousand records. You guys aren't in the business of like, hey, here's 6 addresses. Can you get me the numbers on these? Correct?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of a movie. How much for one rib? No, we are. It's about 1,000 to 1,500 records. We prefer the agent to start with. You do know it's this number game, finding these niches. In order to have success, I think you got to commit to a dollar amount. We do have a minimum order online of $300, and then if you're going to work with one of our agents, it's a $500 minimum order. But that's the value that we put into the data for you to get 10-time ROI once you start working it.
Yeah. So you guys, if there's onesies and twosies, there are different options out there, which we'll save that for another training. There's a bunch of different services that we will recommend for you guys. If you need a phone number to one house, that's so easy to get. Cool. So I think that question was from Robert Reyes. Robert, we'll handle that in another coaching call, but that's simple.
Yeah, and someone talked about skip tracing, and that's the term we call phone appending or phone enhancement. We're not going to add 8 phone numbers to a database and kind of cross our fingers that you're going to get in touch with my cousin that
that's right
on their bills. We're going to put the best cell phone, the best landline, and both if we have it on that record. So you're not going to be paying for numbers that aren't even relevant.
Yeah, I love it. So we got into a lot of the deeper things. I didn't think
the data enhancement is something that people forget about, and it's such an important exercise to connecting, right? To having that success when you're making those calls.
Yeah. So I think a good place for you guys to start, I put a link to Jared's website in the comments. Go look into your zip code or county, and can they do a county search on the site, or is it just by zip code right now?
It's for absentee, we have to break it down by SCF, which is like the first 3 digits of the zip code, just the way the data interprets because of the 2 addresses. But if you're owner occupied, we can do it by county. We can do absentee by county. So to answer your question, we can totally help. It's just it might be an offline conversation than what the lead shop provides.
Okay. So step 1, you guys, is just go play around on his website. The new lead store is really cool. You can just see how many leads are available in your city or multiple cities, multiple zip codes. And then certainly you guys can have a conversation with Jared's team to find out what could make sense for you guys. And this should just be that 3rd or 4th lead pillar, right? All of you should have absentee owners. If you're not calling absentee owners, I don't know how many times I've said that it's probably one of the greatest treasures to a listing agent in our industry and downsizers. These 2 groups, in addition to for sale by owners and expired listings, can take you to the top. I mean, really can take you to the top, just those 4 lead pillars by themselves. So that's where I would start. And I think, Jared, we got through all of our questions.
Yeah, I have one more question. Someone said, how are you in small markets? We just heard back from a broker in the state of Washington in the small lake community. They loaded in 700 absentee owners into their CRM. Within 30 days, they had $3.5 million in listings from an absentee owner database. So I think small markets, big markets, any kind of market, as long as you're doing the work, is going to be productive and profitable.
Yeah, we sent you one of our agents in a really small market, and you're able to kind of do the same exact thing with absentee owners. That's right.
Yeah. And then they landed on a pocket that had a guy that had 7 properties and wanted to list all 7. So
yeah.
it was a diamond in the rough, but still kind of cool to hear.
Yeah. And if you guys have technical issues uploading lists into Vulcan or Mojo or whatever, we will do a ton of training on that inside of our community. It's not a problem, or those companies will service you too. So if you just call Vulcan 7 customer support and you say, hey, how do I do a custom import? They will literally show you click by click exactly how to do it. So how long is that discount code going to be available for, Jared, for the community?
Did you do it to the end of the month? We did it to the end of September. So you have 30 days to get that done. We debated back and forth, but ultimately it's through September. So it's as good for that. And we've never given more than a 20% discount. So right out of the gate, we're offering you guys 25 and 30%. Now's the time to go get after it.
Awesome. Well, dude, Jared, I appreciate it. Looks like a lot of people got a lot out of this. So we will bring Jared back, you guys. We've been doing a lot of work with the Share Group. We so support or appreciate the support you've given this community, Jared. And maybe instead of you and I just doing our podcast, we'll just come live inside of this community.
Yeah, this is neat. I liked it. Yeah, I love the feedback, and the feelings are wholeheartedly mutual, man. You're doing amazing things out there, and we appreciate everything too. So thank you.
So you guys, the discount codes are in the comments. So just scroll up in the comments. They're going to live there, okay? So his website is there. The discount codes are there. We will pin this post inside the Facebook group so it stays at the top of the feed, and you guys should have all of those codes. So Jared, I appreciate it. You guys, let's make it a great week, and we'll talk to everybody soon.
Yeah, awesome, everybody. Thank you so much. Have a great day.